with the Kentucky Center for Agriculture and Rural Development. We assist businesses with business planning, technical assistance, record keeping, looking at their sales channels and marketing. So today we are going to talk about selling it, which is talking about marketing not just from the aspect of here's how to make a social media post. That's actually not what we're going to be discussing today. We are going to be talking about looking at your break-even price, different markets, and what you need to be able to access those markets. So we're going to break it down a little bit. We're going to talk about setting prices that work for both you and your customer. You need to decide what are realistic production levels, what product mixes and distribution strategies work for you and your business, and you need to understand you and your customers' needs and how you can meet them. So how do you set your prices? Here's some things you need to work through. What are your current costs of production? You need to know that for each crop in order to be able to set the prices. What can the market bear? Which means, can my market bear $20 a pound tomatoes? The answer to that is likely no. Then you look at what your competitor prices are. Your prices need to be competitive with your competitors, not too high, not too low. They can be a market leader, that's fine, but you need to think about these three things when you're setting your prices. So, how do you know what your crop costs are? You look at your planting and growth. You look at your harvest cost, and you look at your package and delivery cost. There's actually a worksheet that goes along with this for break-even analysis for crops, and that's available at kcard.info, our website, and you can work along with this at a later time. But for example, you need transplants for your tomatoes. We're going to pretend we're growing tomatoes right now. You know that you need 50 tomato transplants. They cost you 40 cents each, so your planting and growth cost is $20. Now there may be other things such as fertilizer, drip tape, something else that has to be done every year if you're not able to reuse your drip tape. What about the cost of harvest? Maybe you have to pay employees to help harvest, and it takes about 2¼ hours to harvest a 100-foot row of tomatoes. It costs you $10 per hour. So that's going to cost you $22.20. So what about packaging and delivery? You need 15 boxes to put the tomatoes in. It costs you $2 a box, so that's going to be $30 for packaging and delivery. Then your indirect cost, water indirect costs. Well, those are things that your farm accrues no matter what, no matter how much you're planting, anything like that. So your indirect cost is going to be, and I see it is going to include your depreciation. For example, if you have a $20,000 tractor that's useful life is 20 years, you're looking at depreciation of around $1,000 per year, and there's a typo that should say 1,000. And if you're looking at property taxes, it's $500 a year. You have 5 100-foot rows planted, and only one of those rows is tomatoes. So the tomatoes are responsible for about $100 of the property taxes. The tomatoes could be responsible for about $25 of your total depreciation. And so you're going to go through this with like your licensing, your permit, your accounting fees, all of those things, divide them by 5, you know, how much of that, in this case 5, because you have 5 100-foot rows, and then you're like, okay, well, only one of those is from tomatoes, so if you know the cost per 100-foot row, you know the cost for each row of tomatoes, and you add all of those up. So this actually gets you to a break-even price pretty easily. Let's say the yield is 300 pounds of tomatoes. So you know your total direct cost, what it cost you to grow the tomatoes, was $277.36. Your total indirect cost, after all the accounting fees, licenses, permits, depreciation, property taxes, anything else you may have, was about $310 in our scenario. and you know that you're going to grow about 300 pounds of tomatoes. So your direct plus your indirect cost is going to be around $587.36. Divide that by 300 and you get $1.96 if it's per pound is your minimum needed to be able to break even on these tomatoes. All right, so now we know how much we have to charge. So here's some things. So you're like, all right, I need at least around $2 to break even on my tomatoes. So now what market can do that? What prices can you meet and make money, not just break even? What quantities do you have? Because that determines some of your market. Are there certifications that you need that you can obtain? And how do you make deliveries? So we're going to think about those 4 questions. And then what products do you offer? So this is both based on what you enjoy and are good at growing, your best profit margin, and the market need. However, there are some things like sweet corn at a farmer's market. People want to go and buy corn and tomatoes from a farmer's market. It is a key item. It may not make the most money, but you know your customers expect it and it will bring them to your farmer's market booth. Or maybe you know that somebody will order at a restaurant and with that they'll order other things that are worth more. Having those key items is really a big part of why people visit a farmer's market. So you can't make this based on just the numbers. You also don't want to end up growing crops that you just hate growing or are bad at growing. Because if you can't have reliable production, then you're not going to have a good profit margin and you're not going to meet the market's needs. So you kind of have to consider all of this together. So we're looking at, what are your markets, what products you are able to offer and how well it fits the markets. And you're going to talk about your customer needs. So research and understand, what does a specific market or customer need? Can you meet those needs? Can you meet the pricing needs? Can you have products that they want? And how can you help them? Bring them relevant information, whether it's prices and ordering schedules, and help them sell and tell your story. You want it to be as easy for them as possible. And this last part's especially true at restaurants and institutions, helping them sell and tell your story. So a few examples. At farmers markets, the need is generally that people want to feel connected to the farmer that grew their food. You can usually get some of the highest prices available at a farmer's market. Restaurants, they need deliveries at least once a week. They don't have much cold storage, and the same is true for most institutions. They need consistent and easy ordering. Restaurants are very busy places. They don't have a lot of time, so you need to make this as easy and consistent as possible. And they need the ability to easily market their connection to local farmers. So giving them bits and pieces to share, whether on social media, on their menus, anything else, that can be helpful. For wholesale customer, consistency, consistency, consistency. That is the key here. They want the volume, the quality, and the timing to be as close as possible to what you talked about every single time. They will probably need certifications, they're going to need larger quantities, and you're going to have to be able to meet that lower price point. Being able to do the break even helps you understand if you can meet price points. And if you run your break even at different scales, you may find that you can meet different price points. So can you fulfill those needs? Do you have the time and inclination to do farmers markets? Not everyone loves to go sit for 6 to 8 hours on a Saturday and socialize while selling tomatoes, cucumbers, and butternut squash. It's not something that people like, that everyone wants to do. It's a huge emphasis on personal interaction and also an online presence so that people feel connected to you. With a restaurant, can you meet their delivery schedule and pricing? Can you be that can you communicate that well and be that Johnny on the spot for what they need this week? For a wholesale person, are you able to keep their certifications and accept their prices? Can you meet their delivery schedule? The wholesale markets are very demanding, and there's not a lot, there's no leeway for mistakes. You know, if it isn't a grade 1, then it isn't a grade 1 butternut squash. That's it. They can't buy it because their buyers won't buy it. So, with farmers markets, it's personal. Social media, don't ever overestimate this tool. Personal interaction still rules. Even in today's age, the more personal you can make your social media or other communications, great. Use more than one platform. Don't just do Facebook. Emphasize visual content. Think about Instagram. Instagram is very visual, and farming and food are very visual. Whether it's recording a short video of how your tomatoes are growing, or checking on your cattle out in the field, or some cute piglets that you have. Visual content is amazing. People like to see your face, whether or not you like to show it, and they like to hear your voice. They want to know that it's personal. Consider a newsletter or weekly email to stay connected with people that may not do Facebook. And also, it kind of creates like that club feel of like, I'm in the club and I get the personal email, not just trying to catch up on your Facebook feed. And we all know that Facebook is relying more and more on algorithms that don't emphasize selling things to people unless you pay them. So a weekly newsletter or even monthly newsletter can help you keep up with your customers and help them keep up with you. You can also use parts of that newsletter for your social media content so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every day. Make sure and market your values. Who are you as a farm? Are you a family farm that emphasizes sustainability and selling to local restaurants? Why do you farm? Do you farm because this is a generational thing for you and this was what your grandparents did and your parents did, and so you're continuing the tradition? Do you farm because you're sincerely passionate about feeding people? Why do you farm? Make sure these are coming across in your marketing, because it's not just about selling people things, especially for farmers market. It's personal. It's that personal connection. They connect to your story. For restaurants and institutions, before you ever go, make sure you have a pricing sheet. You want to have pictures on it if you can. Include the quantities available and when they're available, the seasonality. Make sure on that pricing sheet is any delivery fee or a minimum order, and instructions on how to order, whether it's email, they call you, it's online, they text you. Restaurants want to be able to order easily and efficiently. So make sure you have all that in place. Research and identify locally owned restaurants. Those are the ones most likely in most cases to be able to purchase local food. Investigate any incentive programs. For example, Kentucky has the Buy Local program, which will reimburse a restaurant or institution a certain percentage of the local Kentucky Proud products they buy. Look at their menus and specials. See how it matches up with what you grow. Prepare and practice an elevator speech. As silly as it sounds, I really want you to do this, because being able to give a good 1-minute overview of your farm and its products and what makes you special, that's going to help you stand out. And if they can identify early on who you are and what you can do for them, that will help the relationship. Call ahead to see when you want to visit. Generally, it is before 11 o'clock or between 2 and 4, Monday to Thursday for restaurants. You don't want to go in there at 6 o'clock on a Friday or Saturday night, nor in the middle of the lunch rush on a weekday. You can call and ask for the person, whoever the head cook is, the head chef, or the person who sets the menu and orders food. Those are the people you want to talk to. So during your meeting at the restaurant, emphasize your positive story. You see down here in the note, do not talk negatively about other suppliers, whether it's local farmers or a larger food service. Don't talk negatively. Do emphasize your positive story and your willingness to work with them. Suggest items that you can supply in place of anything they want. If they ask for something you don't have, you're going to have your list of like, okay, I see that you serve this dish every Saturday morning for brunch. Would you consider including local apples in it. And they're like, well, your apple prices are a little high. And you can like say, well, what about some blueberries? We do blueberries early on in the season. So you can suggest items in place. Example on the right here is if your potato price is too high, maybe they can highlight carrots. We've had restaurants request really enjoy serving specialty items like multicolored carrots or something along those lines to be able to accentuate a dish without increasing their food cost too much, but being able to support and buy from local farmers. Not only should you do not talk negatively, also do not insist on a yes or no before leaving. Could they, if you insist, could they give you a yes? But without giving them time to think it over and making them feel pressured, they're not going to want to deal with you long term. So you may get a no, or they may give you a yes just to get you out of their face and never order anything. Allow them time to think. Make sure and ask them, what do they need sourced locally? How often do they order and take delivery? Are they interested in running local food as a special? This is a great way to get your foot in the door. It's not a huge commitment for the restaurant or you. You know, maybe you're going to offer those blueberries for Saturday pancakes one weekend for the restaurant, and it allows each of you to get to know each other. They know they can rely on you. You know they're really going to buy from you. That limited time offer, that one-time opportunity can often help develop a relationship. Make sure you give them your pricing sheet, any simple marketing materials such as a rack card or brochure that tells your farm story, an idea of what products you have, and contact information, and any incentive information for buying local. And thank them. Restaurant, they're busy. Their time is at a premium. If they're taking time to sit with you, they're not making sure something's going right in the kitchen. They're not handling the fact that a server has called in or that one too many servers has shown up. I've been a server. We do these things. And, you know, they're running a business just like anyone else. So make sure and take the time to thank them. So in a week or so, touch base with a call or an email. If the restaurant is interested in purchasing, work out the important details like how much product do they want to buy, when will they place order, and when do they expect delivery, and how will invoices be paid. They may pay via check, they may pay via credit card, they may pay every 30 days. You need to work all of those details out so that no one is surprised. Make sure you keep clear communication on availability and pricing. If the partnership is going well, think about how to partner in marketing. Could on your website, your Facebook, or the farmer's market, your Instagram, could you say, find our produce at this great local restaurant? Or you might ask if you can get your farm name on the menu and create a social media post together. So those are all ways that you and a restaurant could market together. For wholesale, you really need to ask yourself and make sure you've done that break even to make sure you can take some of the lower prices. Can you deliver the quantities with the regularity the buyer needs and maintain the necessary certifications, whether that's third-party audit, having it USDA processed, organic certification, and storage and packaging become much more of a concern with wholesale. They're very specific about how they need it packaged, labeled, and delivered. So here's just a few final thoughts. Have a backup plan for any market. Certainly in 2020, we are seeing the unexpected as far as markets go. So make sure that you have a backup plan, especially if you have one market channel that is a big portion of your farm sales. Another thing to do is keep all of your buyers informed. No matter who your customers are, they need to know if something happens that causes a shortage. Let your farmers market customers know via your newsletter, Facebook, Instagram, that something has happened, that tomatoes were affected by flood or hail happened on your peppers. These things happen. Let them know. You don't want them looking for something at the farmer's market or looking for you and you're not there. Do not be an ostrich and stick your head in the sand. If you are unable to meet a restaurant or wholesale order, call them as soon as possible. Waiting 2 days will only make it harder for you and them. You need to build a trusting relationship, and trust means open communication and honesty. Adapt your marketing to who your customers are and their needs. Facebook isn't everything. and ask someone else to review your marketing materials. Make sure they understand what you're getting at and why they would want to buy from your farm. They will see things on there that you haven't, from the fact that you haven't included your products, or you've missed the point of why you're awesome as a farmer, to a typo on the first page, or you've spelled your own farm name wrong. It's great to have another set of eyes. So questions or comments? K-Card can assist you with developing a record system, working through your financial statements, looking at your social media marketing, considering your different market channels. We do all of these things. We work specifically with Kentucky farms, but this video and the handout for break-even analysis is good for everyone. You can contact me via email at mchristie@kcardky.com. You can call our main cell phone or main phone number at 859-550-3972. Or you can go to our website for more information, other K-Card resources, www.kcard.info. So feel free to reach out. I hope that you all have an excellent day, and I hope you found this useful. Thank you.